Good morning. As the fires have settled, new challenges lie ahead, and I am laser focused on the next steps for our communities. Rains are in the forecast, and the threat of mud and debris flow in our fire-impacted communities is real. The county, led by our Department of Public Works, has been taking aggressive measures to clear potential hazards ahead of the rainstorms. Yesterday, I spoke with the governor and emphasized that for our communities decimated by fires, we must respond with urgency to protect from future disasters. The state's support and investment in partnership with the county will be critical to keep residents safe, if not when, but when it rains. And again, I emphasize, it's not a question of if. We know it's going to rain, but we have to be prepared. This includes clearing drains and roadways, preparing our debris basins, and taking other critical flood protection measures. One of the questions I hear most, including at last night's Altadena Town Council meeting, is about debris removal. Phase 1 of debris removal is underway to remove hazardous waste materials led by FEMA and the United States EPA. Phase 2 of debris removal is a much larger task. FEMA asked the Army Corps of Engineers to take on this significant task, and I am pleased to announce that they have agreed. The Army Corps of Engineers brings significant resources and knowledge that will be critical to getting it done and getting it done right. LA County Public Works will be the lead agency on debris removal countywide for all areas impacted by fires. They'll partner with the cities of Los Angeles, Pasadena, and Sierra Madre, and will work directly with the Army Corps to manage this effort. A critical aspect of Phase 2 of debris removal is going to be private property owners who are opting in. Public Works is working with state and federal partners on a communication plan that will use all mediums available to share this information with impacted property owners. It is incredibly important that we get widespread participation. We need private property owners to sign up for this program to maximize the benefits offered so that they can move through the process swiftly and efficiently. When I met with members of the Altadena community and the town council last night, we also discussed the need to evaluate the immediate response to this disaster. That's why at yesterday's Board of Supervisors meeting, I read in a motion to retain a consultant with subject matter expertise to review the evacuation policies and emergency alert notification systems. In all major disasters, the county completes an after-action report, but I felt it was important to prioritize and escalate this analysis now. The victims of this disaster deserve our transparency and accountability. Before I wrap up, I would also like to announce that the LA County has launched a one-stop funding and relief portal to help residents, businesses, and communities impacted by these horrific fires. It is lacounty.gov/relief. Again, lacounty.gov/relief. I continue to hear all the time that people want to help, and this is a great centralized resource to do just that. The site spotlights a range of funds dedicated to supporting first responders, offering housing assistance, providing relief for small businesses and workers, and most importantly, removing barriers for students and for our communities. You can head to the lacounty.gov/relief to check out all the ways that you can get involved. There are a lot of amazing organizations you can partner with to lend a helping hand. Thank you. I would now like to introduce County Supervisor Lindsey Horvath.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We are grateful for your partnership and to the partnership of everyone present currently working to address wildfire containment, the first two phases of cleanup, and to protect burn areas given the upcoming rain prediction. These extraordinary efforts require unity across all levels of government, and we know that recovery may be a long and complex process, but our residents deserve timely information on what to expect and how it impacts you directly. That's what today is about, sharing a clear plan about what the first 2 phases of recovery look like. And I'll give an overview of what residents can expect as we begin cleanup, as well as the leaders here sharing more in detail. Phase 1. This is happening now in partnership with the EPA, who is collecting household hazardous waste. They have invested $100 million, more than 500 personnel on the ground who are leading this effort today. This is allowing us in some areas to repopulate, which allows for people to come back into their communities, potentially for a long term, potentially just to see their site. But either way, some are choosing to go, some are choosing to wait, given that this toxic cleanup still needs to happen. And younger people, as well as older adults, are particularly at risk from the hazardous materials that are on the ground. So if you can wait, we encourage you to do so. If you must get back to your property right away, we strongly encourage you to wear the PPE that our Department of Public Health is providing as you are escorted back into your neighborhoods. If you are returning home, please know that there's also a wind-blown ash and dust advisory, and that is why we strongly encourage you to wear the PPE. What you can expect to see right now on the ground as part of Phase 1. You'll see K-rail being established to protect these areas from potential landslides and ground shift from the predicted rains. You'll see sandbags deployed to reinforce vulnerable infrastructure. All of that is happening now throughout all of the burn areas. This is Phase 1. Phase 2 of the cleanup, it will happen in partnership with FEMA and the Army Corps of Engineers, who will be leading on debris removal. And as you heard, residents can opt into this service. We will provide it for you if you opt in. You can also hire a private vendor. If you choose to go that route, you still have to adhere to all of the policies outlined by the EPA and relevant departments. We're working as quickly and urgently as possible on all of these phases of cleanup, as we know it is critical to get people back into their neighborhoods. And for those impacted whose houses are still standing, please know that it still may take some time for you to be reconnected, both for it to be cleared of the toxic debris and to be reconnected to utilities like gas and power. And Director Pestrella will be sharing more. In partnership on these emergencies, we are also grateful to the governor for issuing executive orders to expedite our recovery efforts. The county is the lead for the region on this critical work to clear debris from watershed, prevent landslides and mudslides ahead of upcoming rains. We are the lead of a partnership that is happening with state and federal partners, and working together, we will be able to provide this service for the entire LA County region. We don't need to see further loss of homes or roadways, and that is why we are working in a coordinated fashion. The governor gave the county the authority to lead on this work on behalf of the cities of Los Angeles, Malibu, Pasadena, and Sierra Madre. We've also set up LA Wildfires Recovery Task Force under a unified command structure that is led by our county OEM. There are 9 specialized task forces, including debris management, watershed recovery, rebuilding schools, health and social services, cultural and natural resources, and long-term recovery. And in addition to the action that Chair Barger mentioned, yesterday our board also passed eviction protections for tenants providing shelter. We adjusted our short-term rental laws only to those impacted by fires to increase housing availability. We also had a motion directing county to secure state and federal resources for emergency response, recovery, and wildfire prevention. And we continue to make sure that all necessary resources are being deployed for all of our residents, so there is no delay in this recovery effort. Specific to 3rd District infrastructure needs, we know that the PCH and Topanga Canyon Boulevard are critical regional roadways, and so we have also sent a letter to the California Secretary of Transportation addressing these specific infrastructure needs. 2 telephone numbers to keep nearby for mud flow concerns, 800-933-0930. And for debris removal, you can call 888-347-3332. We encourage you to continue to use the disaster recovery centers as they include comprehensive services for all residents who have been impacted by these fires. I'd now like to welcome up LA County Sheriff Robert Luna.
Good morning to all of you. This is an update from the LA County Sheriff's Department. Staffing-wise, we've decreased our footprint, specifically at the Eaton, by several hundred deputies, but be assured that we assess and reassess every day to figure out if we need to either decrease or increase any of the resources that we have assigned. The California Highway Patrol was demobilized yesterday morning, and again, I'd like to thank Commissioner Sean DeRee and the Governor for their assistance when we needed them. They were here for us, and if we need them again, they will come in mass the way they did previously. We have approximately 785 National Guard personnel continuing to assist the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department and the Los Angeles Police Department. We will continue to reassess those needs as time goes on. The National Guard has been amazing in their assistance, and from the feedback I get from our communities in both incidences, they really appreciate seeing them and their work. Evacuation order-wise, we have approximately 14,755 residents that are still under evacuation orders. That's a significant decrease from what we've had over the last several days and weeks. Evacuation warnings, we have 0 at this time, but as you know, that can change at any minute, whether we're dealing with additional red flag warnings and or rainy weather that may be forecasted for us in the future. The curfew order is still in place for the areas that did have mandatory evacuation zones, both in the Palisades and Eaton fires. A reminder that curfew goes from 6 p.m. To 6 a.m. That will be until further notice. That is consistently evaluated as well. As you are aware, even though we are allowing residents into their neighborhoods, they are asking us to continue extensive patrols, not only to assist them, but for concern continuously for burglaries and other crimes that may occur in that area. We will continue to be there for our residents as we move forward, and that also has to do with us working with our utilities companies, because as you are aware, we still don't have electricity, so it's pitch dark out there at night. That's why we're there with the additional staffing to assist as we can. Arresting any criminal activity, we stand at a total of 59 arrests. From the last time I briefed you, I believe it was Thursday morning, we had 5 arrests since then, 2 for impersonating firefighters. So a total of 3 arrests in the Palisades area and 2 in the Eaton area. Yesterday we had 0 arrests. I do expect that the arrest may go down, but I do want to remind everybody that if you are either going there with the intent to continue to steal or do anything of that nature, there will be additional resources, LA County deputy resources, some in uniform, some not in uniform, that will be addressing that issue. And we continue to be looking out for any scams, relief scam, or online opportunists that are taking advantage of our residents during that time. That will continue. Our search and rescue operations that we prioritized at both incidents, we have completed that portion of the grid searches. Now, as I say, we've completed them. In regards to the missing persons, and I'll give you the number in a second, those investigations continue and they're very active. We have missing person detectives assisted by our Homicide Bureau who are still looking for our community members who have not been located yet. And overall, just to give you an idea of how extensive these search and rescue missions were, we did 8,857 locations at the Eaton incident, and we are at 5,972 at the Palisades incident. I do want to remind our residents, as you're going back to your properties, as you're searching through your property, your materials, if by any chance you run across potential, whether I call it evidence, but it could be potential remains of somebody or something, please notify the Sheriff's Department immediately so we can go out, evaluate it with our partners at the medical examiner's office, so we make sure that if any other remains need to be recovered, they're done in an appropriate and dignified manner. I do want to remind everybody that regarding the evacuation zones lifted, we still have checkpoints out there between us and our partners at the National Guard, and right now we are still only allowing residents in to these areas. That was based on input from our community, that they wanted the opportunity to go there before everyone else did. That could be lifted in the very near future. Keep a ear out for that. But as we transition back from our incident command teams back to, for example, the Altadena station and then eventually our Malibu Lost Hills station, we will continue to support them with additional resources, specifically for what we call looter suppression teams. That has been in place from the day these fires started. That will continue until we assess that that is no longer needed. Regarding updates on deaths, there has been no change since the last time I updated all of you. The death toll stands at 23 total, 17 for the Eaton incident, and 6 for the Palisades incident. Regarding specific numbers with missing persons, we stand at a total of 22 active missing persons reported, 17 in Eaton and 5 in the Palisades, all adults. And again, we are working continuously to try and locate the reported missing persons to our organizations. We have put out bulletins to identify the persons that are missing. If you have any information regarding any of them, please contact us as soon as possible. I also want to end my statements. Both of our supervisors indicated that there will be an after-action report on what occurred. I welcome and appreciate their leadership in doing that, because we all need to know in an after-action what happened, how it happened, why it happened. We need those level of details. I know for us at the Sheriff's Department, we're being asked a lot of detailed questions about specific things that occurred. A lot of the people that I would ask these questions to are still out there working. But without having specific details yet, which we eventually will have, I want to repeat something that I said. It was either on day 1 or day 2 of this incident. Our deputy sheriffs, along with our partners at LA County Fire, were out there from the onset of this incident, dealing with, and I'm not a weather expert, what appeared to be a tornado of fire that consumed homes and blocks at a time. I spoke to deputies days after who were out there on the line, and looking at their faces, a lot of them looking into their eyes with tears in their eyes, because all of them at times felt helpless because of the weather conditions, because they wanted to save everybody's life. So when I talk about the fact that we had 17 deaths in the Altadena area and 6 deaths in the Palisades area, each of us take that extremely personal, because we did not want one loss out of this. Yes, we will go back and evaluate everything we did, but that should not take away from the heroic actions that I've seen and heard from, and the countless people have told me that our deputy sheriff saved their lives in getting them out of these houses as the fires were approaching them. I just want to say that. I want to put that out because, yes, there are good, hard questions being asked, and like I've been telling people, we're still in the middle of this fight. We'll get there. We'll get the answers. We're all looking forward, because if we can do better, we can do better. But just keep in mind, there are people who have passed, and there are people that were out there risking their lives to save their lives as well. With that, I'd like to introduce LA County District Attorney Nathan Hochman.
Good morning. I'd like to echo Sheriff Luna's words about the heroic actions of law enforcement that were out there from day one, 24 hours a day, not only saving lives, but saving homes, saving property, and keeping us secure. The deputy sheriffs, the men and women from the Los Angeles Police Department, and all the local agencies and the National Guard deserve our respect, and they deserve our admiration, and they have it. Same thing with the firefighters. The firefighters put their lives on the lines to battle these fires, and again, they deserve an incredible amount of our admiration. By the way, so do the over 200,000 people in this county that voluntarily evacuated. I mean, it's one of the largest evacuations, certainly in LA County, and probably in the entire nation, to have been done in record time, again, to save lives. I'm one of those evacuees, and sure, it was uncomfortable, it was inconvenient, but it paled in comparison to the sacrifice of firefighters and law enforcement that was occurring every single day. So we have been, on the district attorney's office, we have been going after the small number of people who have viewed this crisis as an opportunity to commit crimes. We've gone after the looters. And thank you for the law enforcement, and thank you for the public in bringing these looters to our attention, where they have been arrested, they have been prosecuted, and they will be punished to the maximum extent of the law. And let me make clear what that means. Of the maximum sentences so far that have been triggered, we have seen people look at 3 years, 6 years, 9 years, and depending on their criminal history, 22 years and life in prison. Justice will be swift for these looters, and it will be significant. And the same thing with arsonists. While where the cause and origin of the major fires is still yet to be determined, people, and I don't know who these people are or what they are thinking, they're sick. They decided to go ahead and light some fires in the surrounding cities and just watch stuff burn. Well, the public, working with law enforcement, has caught these people. And they are looking at a minimum of 9 years in state prison. It's not funny, it's not interesting, and if they want to do that and endanger our safety, we will throw the book at them. Now, price gougers. Again, another crop of people who have decided that this is their best opportunity to maximize their profit at the expense of people who have lost their homes and are desperate to find somewhere to call home over the next weeks, months, and maybe even years. If you've increased the price of whether it's a home, a service, a good, beyond 10% from the price you were originally offering it before the wildfires, you have engaged in price gouging. You are subject to criminal penalties, civil penalties, and public shaming. We will go after you. And my strong advice for any price gougers out there who are watching this is go ahead and fix what you did. Get back that money. Go back to that 10% amount. We will take that into account in deciding whether or not to prosecute you. And if you have any questions of what price gouging is or whether or not you are entering into this area, you can go to the Attorney General's website under price gouging. The city attorney has resources describing price gouging. Use those resources. We do not want to go ahead and fill our prisons with price gougers. In fact, that is not our desire. Our desire is to deter you from committing these crimes in the first place, thus helping all the victims who are desperately seeking these services. We've also seen other scams come up. People have been so generous in wanting to donate money and services, yet there are those criminals who have set up fake sites to try and target these donations and have them diverted away from, let's say, legitimate GoFundMe sites into fake GoFundMe sites. Be incredibly careful if you want to give money or services that you check out the organization that is asking you for this. If they in any way pressure you to give money, that is a red flag that it is most likely a fake organization. And please don't give Bitcoin or any type of cryptocurrency, they're counting on that because you'll never see that cryptocurrency back. Legitimate organizations can be checked out, again, against the IRS's website if they're a nonprofit, or the State Attorney General's website. Other scams, and this deals with the recovery. We're going to see unlicensed contractors coming in, thinking that Los Angeles is the gold mine of basically their criminal activity. When you go ahead and want to actually hire a contractor to rebuild anything you've lost, make sure they are a licensed contractor. If they don't have a license, you can check that out at the Contractor State Licensing Board website. Punch in their name, and if it doesn't come up with a license number, they are unlicensed, and that is a felony. And so we will, again, be enforcing these unlicensed contracting scams. Insurance scams. I'm sorry, this is almost a plethora of criminal activity that is going to descend on us, but it will, and you should be informed on it. Insurance scams, where people will come to you. They will say, look, I can help you get more insurance, better insurance, faster insurance. Just pay me some money. These are scams. In almost all situations, check them out. Make sure they are completely legitimate. Work with the Department of Insurance. If you have any questions, they have a hotline number. You can reach them by email or text, and they will answer your questions about any insurance scams. Please don't get ripped off. And for those insurance scammers out there, we will absolutely come after you. Your actions are despicable. They're disgraceful, and we will throw the entire book against you. Last type of scam, government benefit scams. We're about to have billions of dollars of federal money descend on Los Angeles County. There are people who look at that as the opportunity of a lifetime to rip it off. If you want to go ahead and engage in these scams and take government benefits that are designed to go to wildfire victims and not you, we will come after you. We did it back in the 1990s when government benefits came from the fires, the flood, the earthquake, and the riots. We did it back in the 2000 or the 2020 area when millions of dollars came to Los Angeles County from COVID relief, and we will go after you again if you want to in any way rip off the money that is destined for true wildfire victims. Today's theme is recovery, and I want to spend one moment talking about an interesting recovery. Because sometimes all it seems that I'm doing is talking about how I'm going to put people in jail, and I will, but often you want to find out what happens with those people in jail. The other night I went to the Rose Bowl where there's an incredible sight. You see thousands of people, firefighters, law enforcement, National Guardsmen who are there, who are basically situated to deal with the fires and the recovery. It's incredible. But what I also saw was 7 young men from Pine Grove Fire Camp. Pine Grove Fire Camp is up in Amador County, and it is taking young men who have committed crimes, violent crimes as juveniles, and is teaching them to be firefighters. It's incredible, the transformation in these young men from people who were dealing with the lowest situations in their lives, unconnected from society, no meaning in their life, to being trained to be firefighters, to being brought on the front lines of these fires, the Palisades fire, the Eaton fire, fighting to keep our homes there, fighting to keep lives alive. Young men at that level, incredible. That is part of the recovery we can even see in the criminal justice system, and is an inspiration to make sure that even though we are going to put the criminals in jail, that there are opportunities to help people who've committed crimes actually recover. I'd now like to introduce Los Angeles County Department of Public Works Director Mark Pestrella.
Good morning. I want to start out today by providing a storm summary that we anticipated storm that will be arriving in Los Angeles on the 25th and lasting through Monday the 27th, and I'll also cover some recovery actions that the department's under. As the Director of Public Works and the Chief Engineer of the Los Angeles County Flood Control District, LA County Flood Control District has stood up an incident for the department related to the storm, which is expected to enter the region on Saturday, January 25th, and last through Monday, January 27th. The latest forecast calls for a quarter to half inch of rain in LA County. There is a 10 to 20% chance of thunderstorms related to the storm. As the rain approaches, LA County Public Works will mobilize 24/7 storm patrols. All flood control dams and channels have been prepared for storm and stormwater capture facilities prepared to operate. This includes those areas that have been impacted by fire, the Palisades and Eaton fire areas. We are currently collaborating with state and local partners, including the City of Los Angeles, the City of Malibu, the City of Pasadena, the City of Sierra Madre, and the unincorporated areas by recent fires. Our objective in this incident is to protect the public, property, and the natural environment from potential mud and debris flows and pollution. Currently, our crews are clearing debris from streets, cleaning and preparing debris basins, deploying sandbags and other systems to keep runoff with ash and other burnt debris from entering the storm drain system. Public Works is also working with the state to coordinate the deployment of K-rail in burn areas. This is the devices you see on roadways to divert flows. There are 9 specialized task forces in place that focus on everything aspect of recovery. We're switching pages here. So we're actively involved in this incident. We are going to be active tomorrow in the burn areas. You will see full-scale crews, including crews from the National Guard, from the state California OES, from state DWR, from LA County Flood Control District, along with the city's road departments, deploying best management practices or sediment traps throughout the burn areas. This looks like K-rail, sandbags, and other devices with the objective of containing the sediment from the burn lots within the streets of the burn areas. So we're going to be active, and we're going to be asking for your patience and for you to stay clear of our crews as we're doing this. We are coordinating this work with all the utilities that are trying to recover in the areas. Those crews will be asked to stand down at one point so that we can make our way into the community all day tomorrow and Friday as we prepare the community for this rain event. The public is asked to, for those folks that have repopulated or who have stayed in their homes during the incident, we are not expecting an amount of rain in which we would have to ask you to leave your homes. In fact, what I would advise is that property owners that live in this area during the rain event remain in their home. And so therefore, I'm asking that you put provisions together so that you might remain in the home and not have to use the street system. As the rain is occurring, we do expect sediment and debris to make its way to the street systems in the Palisades area and the Eaton area. This is it's not expected to be a tremendous amount of debris, but enough to actually cause transportation problems for our first responders as well as residents that may be trying to travel. I'd like to reserve those streets for our first responders. They are still actively responding to incidents, medical, and even potential structure fires in those areas. So at the beginning of any site of rain, which we expect on Saturday, we would ask that the residents in these areas obey all laws, remain in their homes, and be diligent about sediment impacting your home. For those that live in the burn area and have hillsides behind their property that have burned, we are providing a service currently to come and look at your property. I've been announcing this for some time. We will take a look at your property. Our engineers in-house will take a look at your property along with our friends from Cal OES and advise as to what the condition of that slope is and whether or not any mitigations need to be taken. This could look like sandbagging or diverting of flows away from your residence. But let me be clear. If you live in an area and you're in the home and there is a slope behind your home that is burned and it's maybe 20 feet or more in height, and it is adjacent to the property in any direction, your best bet is not to be in that home when it rains. The most conservative thing to do is to not be in that home when it rains, if we have not come and seen you yet. If we've come to see you, or you have your own engineer coming and advising about how to protect the home, follow all those directions. They are intended to save you from the potential debris flows that we do expect to happen when it rains here in LA County. We have 9 specialized task force in place that focus on every aspect of recovery. The task force include debris management led by Los Angeles County Public Works, watershed recovery led by the Los Angeles County Flood Control District, rebuilding led by the Los Angeles County Department of Regional Planning in conjunction with Public Works, the schools led by the Los Angeles County Office of Education, health and social services led by Los Angeles County Department of Public Health, and the cultural and natural resources led by the County Parks and Recreation, housing led by Los Angeles County Development Authority, and the long-term recovery led by the County Department of Regional Planning. All of these task force and the work that they're doing can be reviewed at recovery.lacounty.gov. We are currently using Santa Anita Racetrack will be the Eaton Fire Burn Area Base Camp and supply staging area for 10,000 K-rails, 350,000 linear feet of compost socks, 30,000 linear feet of straw wattle, 25,000 gravel bags. The Santa Monica Airport will be the Palisades Fire Supply staging area for 5,000 K-rails, 350,000 linear feet of compost socks, 30,000 linear feet of straw wattle, and 25,000 gravel bags. These are all equipment and materials necessary to secure the locations, the two burn areas from debris flows due to rain, and to maintain the pollution-laden sediment on site so it does not reach our waterways and the ocean. As I said, that is our objective. Also, personnel are being made available in the Conservation Corps and Department of Water Resources. So what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of resources at your beck and call for the purposes of securing your home against rain. We have our first rain event. We expect more rain post this event. We plan for it annually. We prepare for it year-round. Your LA County Flood Control District is covering the entire area and preparing that big backbone system. And then we've taken on this second mission, which is stabilizing the urban areas and drainage systems within your communities as well. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the debris removal program. We have, as been mentioned by both supervisors, we have a program that's being led by LA County Public Works to remove debris from within the burn area. It is a two-step process, and I've brought here today with me the Army Corps of Engineers, who is going to be partnering with our department to lead the removal of the debris, and US EPA, who will be removing the hazardous materials from sites. The hazardous waste removal is 2 steps. Post-fire house debris can contain toxic materials like you've heard, asbestos, lead, mercury, chemicals from household products, and other heavy materials. These materials are released into the ash and debris when structures burn and pose a risk to public health, animals, and environment if inhaled or handled improperly. As stated, the US EPA, the state, and LA County Fire are coordinating property assessments and household hazardous waste removal from activities to manage the removal of that material. This process has already begun, and you'll hear more about it from US EPA in a moment. That in the areas that are safe for the hundreds of inspection personnel to enter and provide clearance for safe removal of hazardous debris. This is again done at no cost to property owners, and inspectors will go property to property. Each property with damaged or destroyed structures must be inspected and household hazardous waste removed before any other fire debris is removed. Step 2, I'm going to let Colonel Swenson give you more detail, but just generally, step 2 is debris removal. It's an extensive program. I'm going to let him describe that to you, but I do want to put this out. It is, as both supervisors stated, this program is being chaired, led by Los Angeles County Public Works in coordination with the impacted cities, City of Malibu, City of Los Angeles, City of Sierra Madre, Pasadena, and the unincorporated areas. We are encouraging all property owners, commercial and residential, to opt into this program. What I mean by that is you can opt in or opt out. Opting in means that you would sign up for the program and give us permission to enter the property to clear the debris. I'll let Colonel Swenson give more details. You can find out more about the property recovery at lacounty.gov. You can call for more information. You can call the following number, 844-347-3332. That's 844-FIRE-DEBRIS. And again, 844-347-3332. With all that information said, I'm going to turn the microphone over to US EPA Incident Commander Tara Fitzgerald.
Good morning. I'm Tara Fitzgerald with the United States Environmental Protection Agency. Thank you for having me here today to discuss the U.S. EPA's work. The U.S. EPA has begun Phase 1 hazardous material removal operations within both the Eaton and Palisades burn footprints. Hazardous materials include common household items that many of us have in our homes, such as regular household products like paints, cleaning supplies, and automotive oils. Garden products such as herbicides and pesticides, batteries, including both standard and rechargeable types, propane tanks and other pressurized fuel containers, fire-damaged lithium-ion batteries, which require special handling due to fire and safety risks. Regarding our progress and next steps, our assessment teams began their work on Thursday, January 16th. We have secured temporary storage locations for materials from each fire site. These locations will serve as staging areas where materials can safely be packaged and prepared for proper disposal. Our teams will begin removing these materials once our staging areas are ready and early next week. Safety is our top priority through this process. Ash and burn debris from these sites can be hazardous, so our EPA teams use comprehensive safety equipment. Workers are equipped with protective gear, including respirators, protective suits, and special gloves. If wind speeds exceed 30 miles per hour, we will temporarily pause work operations for safety. If residents are present on their property when our teams arrive, we will skip that location and return at a later time to ensure everyone's safety. The public can find more information about our hazardous material removal operations at epa.gov/California-wildfires. This website will be continuously updated as our work moves forward. Thank you, and I'll introduce U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Field Office Commander Colonel Eric Swenson.
Good morning. My name is Colonel Eric Swenson with the Army Corps of Engineers, and as stated, I'm the Recovery Field Office Commander for the Corps' mission here for private property debris removal. I want to start by saying our heartfelt thoughts and prayers go out to the communities of the LA area impacted by the wildfires. This tragedy is real for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, as members of our Los Angeles district of the Army Corps of Engineers have been displaced and some have lost their homes. Our top priority remains the health, life, and safety of all those affected by these wildfires. We, the Army Corps of Engineers, are on the ground working shoulder to shoulder with our federal, state, and local partners to begin the important mission of identifying, planning for, and removing debris from more than 12,000 impacted structures from the Los Angeles fires. We've already deployed experts who have extensive experience with all types of complex missions, including most recently in support of the Maui wildfires in Hawaii. The Consolidated Debris Removal Program is a two-phase process. Phase 1, as stated by the EPA, is the removal of household hazardous materials, and Phase 2 is the removal of other fire-related debris. Phase 1, the removal of household hazardous materials, is assigned to the EPA and is already underway. And so today I want to take a second to provide a little bit of education and to explain some terms you're going to hear here in the coming weeks and months. The first is USACE. That's an acronym that stands for the United States Army Corps of Engineers. The second term is ROE. That stands for Right of Entry. That is the legal document that residents who own private property that was impacted by this fire will sign, allowing the federal government and my agency with our contractors to enter your property for the purposes of private property debris removal. And the third acronym is PPDR, Private Property Debris Removal. So those three things, if you can take those out today, you're going to hear those consistently when we go to town hall meetings, when we work with our state, federal, and local partners, and most importantly, the residents, as we help them rebuild their lives and livelihoods here in LA. Now, the process has already started. Our debris experts are already mobilizing to plan a safe, effective, and efficient approach for Phase 2 debris removal. This includes working with local and state partners to begin identifying placement and disposal sites. Next, we will begin issuing contracts to our industry partners so they can mobilize and get on the ground here as soon as possible for site assessment and planning, and that has already started. And together with our partners that stand behind me, we establish open lines of communication with survivors so they understand each step of the debris removal process along the way. Now, I will tell you that this may sound complicated, but debris removal is not complicated, but it is complex, and we will work with communities and residents every step of the way so they understand what they're signing up for and they understand the service that they're going to receive and the benefit it will provide them in their quest to rebuild their lives and livelihoods here on their properties. Our goal is to get after this mission as quickly and safely as possible so that the city of Los Angeles and all the surrounding communities who have been impacted by this fire can begin rebuilding, getting their families back to their homes and their businesses back up and running. We are proud to be part of this team and to bring our best experts and expertise to this mission. I know it's been stated before, but I just want to say it again. For more information, please visit recovery.lacounty.gov or call the fire debris hotline at 844-347-3332. Again, I'm Colonel Eric Swenson. I'm honored to be here on behalf of the Corps of Engineers, and I look forward to walking shoulder to shoulder with community leaders at the state, federal, and local level, and most importantly, residents, survivors who have been impacted by these devastating fires. Thank you. And I'll be followed by the LA County Department of Public Works Director, Dr. Barbara Ferrer. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning and thank you. I'm Barbara Ferrer, the Director of LA County's Department of Public Health. And I want to take a moment to express immense gratitude to our county supervisors, especially to Chair Kathryn Barger and Supervisor Lindsey Horvath, as well as all our city and county partners for their extraordinary leadership and steadfast commitment during this challenging time. I also want to thank our first responders and Chief Maroney and Sheriff Luna for their bravery and tireless efforts to protect lives and property. Nevertheless, the devastation is surreal and heartbreaking. So please know that our entire public health team extends our support and healing prayers to everyone who's been affected by these devastating fires. And as we heal and we work together to rebuild lives, homes, and communities, it is important to note, as many have said, that the fires left behind significant hazards. And I want to highlight some key common sense steps that we should be taking to safeguard our health and well-being. Fire debris and ash contain harmful substances like heavy metals, asbestos, and toxic chemicals. Heavy metals, such as lead and arsenic, can come from burned electronics and building materials, and even a brief exposure can potentially cause skin irritations and lead to more serious illness. The same is true of exposure to asbestos, which we know is found in older construction materials, and it has the risk of causing severe respiratory diseases years after exposure. Additionally, some materials can produce chemicals when they burn, like polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, we call them PAHs, and dioxins, which everyone knows are also linked to respiratory irritation, and in some cases, they're known carcinogens. The fact that ash and fire debris likely contain these hazards highlights the importance of using protective equipment and handling debris with caution to minimize and prevent unnecessary exposure. And taking sensible precautions applies to many of us, since in the weeks to come and the weeks past, the winds continue to spread ash and soot, even in the communities that are not adjacent to the burn areas. There are a few sensible and important precautions to take if you're returning to fire-affected areas or cleaning up soot and ash at your home. If possible, consider delaying returning to burn areas until after the EPA has removed the hazardous waste products. If you are sifting through debris or you're cleaning areas that are coated with soot and ash, always wear protective gear. This includes an N95 or P100 respirator mask, gloves, long-sleeve clothing, and shoes to minimize contact with hazardous particles. Surgical masks, those blue surgical masks, and cloth masks are not effective against ash and fine particulates. Avoid cleaning methods that are going to stir up the ash. In particular, please do not use leaf blowers. Instead, use wet cleaning methods like mopping, followed by damp cleaning before you gently sweep. Ash and debris that you collect can be sealed in plastic bags for disposal to prevent re-exposure and the spread of these toxins. We know that this process is overwhelming. Public health staff and mental health staff are stationed at all of the reentry checkpoints. We have vital information and resources, including guidance on safe cleanup practices, and we have protective equipment. We're also at the disaster recovery centers with information and DPH colleagues that can try to answer all your questions. For additional support, you can contact our environmental health community line at 626-430-9821, and we'll connect you with an environmental health specialist who can assist with your questions and concerns. I know that recovery is going to take time, and I also know that we're going to navigate this together. Public health is committed to providing support and resources that are needed to stay safe and to rebuild. Thank you. And now I'm introducing the FEMA Regional 9 Administrator, Robert Fenton, Jr.
Good morning. Just wanted to reiterate our commitment to be here and support not only the immediate response to these fires, but the long-term recovery. We are partnered not only really closely with California Office of Emergency Services from the Governor's Office, but all the community members, all the elected officials and government agencies behind us. FEMA assistance has been focused on the response, and now we've started focusing in the last week or two on the recovery, primarily by helping individuals, but also starting the immediate efforts to start the cleanup. And you've heard EPA and the Corps of Engineers speak to those missions. We have the ability in FEMA underneath our authority to task federal agencies to support the state and local government, and we'll continue to do that as they need our assistance. We provide EPA $175 million to start the household hazardous materials mission. We provided $550 million to the Corps of Engineers to start the debris removal mission. And I suspect we will provide billions more here at this disaster to help with other things, whether it be the reimbursement of costs or helping with ultimately getting the water system back in operational for those burned areas, removing the debris from those areas, and helping individuals with their immediate needs. With regard to individuals that have been impacted by these fires, that's one of our really primary focus areas now, is helping individuals with our programs that could provide them grants. Again, I just want to reiterate, I encourage every head of the household to apply to our program. If you've been impacted by the fires or you're evacuated by the fires, go to our disasterassistance.gov line. I do understand that last week there was some confusion with some of our letters to those that were insured. We've modified our letters to make them a little bit more clear. The key is, if you're insured, you need to go to your insurance company first and start that process. Good news is, through our change in our regulations last year, we're able to help those that are underinsured. So continue through the process, start with your insurance company, and then we could potentially provide additional assistance to you. So far, we've been able to register almost 100,000 people in our program. We've provided over $36 million. About $12.7 million of that has been the serious needs assistance funding, and the remaining funding has been for personal property and displacement assistance. I expect those numbers to continue to rise as we move forward. The other program that we started last week was our transitional sheltering assistance program. As of today, we have 1,587 households checked in to hotels throughout the LA County area. Because this is a dynamic event, and that focus of those hotels is those that have had to evacuate and those who have been displaced, this population will decrease over time as people can return back to their back to their homes, and mandatory evacuations are lifted. So we'll be reaching out to those individuals that received auto dialers from us, telling them that they're eligible. If there's not a need anymore, we will communicate with them. If there is a need and you're displaced and you receive that message, you can phone back into our number and we can discuss specifically what your need is to make sure we're able to meet your temporary housing needs. We continue to stay committed and work with you. There's other forms of assistance that are available from the state, the county, local governments, nonprofits, faith-based organizations. A good place to go is the disaster recovery centers, and there's probably 60 or 70 different agencies there, and I urge you to go to those locations after you applied to assistance with FEMA. Thank you.
That's the end of our press conference. We're going to take just 2 questions, and then we will do one-on-ones. Does anyone have questions? We're going to go here in the middle. Microphone, please.
Hey, Parker with Spectrum News. So it sounds like some of the statements are a little contradictory. I just wanted to talk about that. So Dr. Ferrer was talking about people, trying to stay out of the burn zones until the EPA can remove the hazards. But then one of the directors, Pestrella, had said, if the rain comes, it'd be best to stay in your home because we're not expecting that much rain. However, then he went on to say, if you're near a slope that hasn't been looked at officially, then you might want to leave. Can you just maybe clarify what the official recommendation is if the rain does come our way?
Yeah, I just want to clarify the suggestion that you wait to return until the hazardous materials are removed from your property. This is particularly salient for people whose property is burned, and they're anxious to actually get back to the property and maybe sift through the debris and see what they can salvage. But that, for those folks, it really would be better if you can wait until the hazardous materials are removed.
And we're going to hear from Pestrella. Yes, just
hold on.
Go ahead.
First of all, there was a question about how, let me clarify how you will know the materials are removed from your property. US EPA will be placing a placard on each property as it's completed, and they will also be posting at the website that was previously noted their work as they complete each property. We will be putting those up so property owners can see that their property has been, the hazardous materials have been removed. One quick PSA I want to put together about being prepared. Being prepared is the best bet for your defense, the public's best defense. I want you to know your property's risk factors, clear drainage paths, use sandbags to direct runoff, and protect structures. Motorists should avoid burn areas and mountain roads. We don't anticipate evacuations. However, we burn area residents should remain indoors if possible and avoid contact with polluted stormwater runoff. This is where the pollution piece comes in. Call the LA County Public Works 24-hour dispatch center to report storm-related damage, traffic signal outages, flooding, or other concerns at 1-800-675-4357. This is a round-the-clock posted position dispatch, 1-800-675-HELP. LA County Public Works is also, as I said previously, providing free engineering advice to property owners in areas at risk of mud and debris flows. They can call the Mud and Debris Flow Hotline, which I didn't give earlier, which is 1-800-933-0930 to make an appointment. Actually, if you call us right now today, we are in your neighborhoods. We're deploying engineers throughout both the burn scar areas. They're pre-deployed there and waiting for these calls. And so we would ask that you make a call to this number, and we will dispatch engineers to look at your property. I also would advise, again, you can utilize private civil engineers to look at your property for advice as well. We will also provide sandbag services to residents that are unable to do their own sandbagging. This is for residents that feel threatened by the rain or who are primarily in the burn areas where they have burn slopes around their homes. So I'd ask again that disabled or elderly residents that are seeking advice to call that number. We'll get to them, and then we will provide sandbagging for residents that we feel are unable to provide that service themselves.
Thank you for that. We'll go right here.
Thank you, sir. Michelle Vias for Channel 4. Mr. Pestrella, I think this is for you as well. Can you talk more about the disposal of the debris? We know that some of it has started. Can you tell us where it's going? And we've heard that some of it might go to gravel mines, one of them in Irwindale. Can you confirm or deny or give us more information on that?
There are two locations. There's a primary location being set up. US EPA can answer that question about the hazardous waste material, so I'll let US EPA discuss that.
Good morning. So we have not begun transferring any hazardous materials from our temporary storage locations. We are still determining where that would be, so that would not be part of any debris removal.
And then, as was just reminding me too, debris that people are trying to remove from their properties now, or when we start the debris process, that is going to be heavily controlled. Right now, our landfills, local landfills, are being told not to accept fire debris of any kind, silt or trash, until we designate the proper locations for that material to go. The material will be stockpiled. Once Army Corps gets going, the material will be stockpiled in a approved location, safe approved location, and it'll be separated. We'll separate recycled materials, we'll separate Class A materials if we find them, polluted materials, and then regular material that can go to our regular landfills. The landfill capacity in LA County has been shown to be able to accept the majority of the regular landfill material. We've already been in contact with landfills. LA County is in charge of that planning. The Class A materials will go to a Class A dump, and the recycled materials will go appropriately to a recycling facility for that use.
Thank you. Last question over here.
Good morning. Craig Figner with KNX News. First, Supervisor Barger, if I may. I'd like to know, you, I think, were the first to send a letter to then President-elect Trump, now President Trump. We understand he'll be here Friday. What do you know about the visit? Will he visit Palisades fire disaster and Eaton fire disaster, both? And on top of that, what do you hope to tell him? Sounds like you'll have his ear.
Well, the visit's still being worked out, so I can't comment on the specifics, but I can tell you that, and I know I can speak for my colleague, Supervisor Horvath, when you meet the residents who have been impacted by these wildfires, it's compelling as it relates to the need, both at the federal level, state, and quite frankly at the county level. So my goal is to let them speak, let them tell him what they're looking at in terms of rebuilding, both for those that have insurance, those that are underinsured, those that in Altadena have lived in their homes for over 60 years, that are in their late 70s, early 80s, and wondering if they're going to be able to rebuild. And that's really my goal, but the specifics are still being worked out. But there's no question in my mind that take the politics out of it. This is about people. And I know that when I go and talk to the residents in my district, they don't care whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. All they want is to know that the government they believe in, that they've been a part of, that they've paid taxes into, are going to be there for them in their time of need.
Thank you very much. That's the end of our press conference. We will facilitate for Spanish. We have a spokesperson right over here. We can set up to the side for one-on-ones. Please approach the front and we will connect you with the appropriate speaker. Thank you.